Chris Buescher from Prosper, Texas, wins the race.
What are...
I'm trying to get this damn
That's
thing
a
open.
party
It
foul
is,
if I've ever seen one.
To be fair, guys, I am a little drunk already.
Oh
So
my God. Celebration of Chris Buescher winning.
Chris Buescher
Chris
from Prosper,
Buescher?
Texas.
Shotgun bear. Chris Buescher light. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. But welcome back to the Highline 12 minutes
hell yeah.
in. Trent Davis Riley Embree. Back at you with the action. You've already seen plenty of action. Not necessarily good action, but it is action.
Yeah.
Don't call me bigoted, call me back. But, Riley, what'd you think about the race on Sunday?
To be honest, like objectively, it was not even looking at the finish with Chris winning. It was one of the better road courses.
Jesus. It's going to take us 3 hours. This fucking episode.
Damn. You remember how last week you said, damn, that was a smooth episode. I barely had to do anything. This week.
Yeah, it gonna be. I'm gonna be up cussing my fucking brains out at 6 a.m. this morning.
Anyways, objectively, looking at it, even without Chris Buescher winning, I think the race was the best race, road course race at least, that this Gen 7 car has put on. I thought it was a really good race. I thought the guys got after it, raced hard, and you know, I know we're going to talk about the tire wear a little bit later, but I do think that the tires did make a difference. Not necessarily over, you know, for everybody over the long run. You didn't see a ton of goers and comers, but I think the tire produced better racing, at least, you know, on the whole. And you know, the first stage was pretty decent. You know, the first couple cars, 2-3 cars, kind of remained the same throughout the stage. Ross Chastain, you know, Shane Van Gisbergen was up there, and then I think who was in third at the time? Was it Truex? I don't.
Stage 1.
Yeah, it was
Joey.
Yeah, it was. There was two guys up there mostly. It was Ross Chastain and Shane, and then, you know, third through fifth, you know, there were a couple guys that kind of switched back and forth, and then, you know, the rest of the top 10 kind of battled back, you know, themselves as well. But there was a lot of guys towards the back of the field that, you know, were trying to make it up towards the front. You know, we had that lap 1 crash that was Corey LaJoie's fault, big surprise. You know, ruining a bunch of people's days that you know, you thought would have a chance to win the race. That just had bad qualifying days. Chris Buescher was lucky to make it through that wreck. And Brad was lucky to make it through that wreck. Denny was in it. You know, a lot of big names were back there. Christopher Bell. Blaney was out, which we'll talk about that, I think, as well. But, you know, that happened, and then they raced hard until the end of the stage. I don't think there was another caution in the stage. Caution comes out, and then I think there was a wreck at the beginning of the second stage, or was it? Was the wreck in the second stage the 99 when he spun out?
No, that was the end of the stage. End of stage 2.
I think there was a caution at the beginning of the second stage, though.
Might have been. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. But the racing was good there as well, because you had some guys up towards the front that had flipped the stage, and, you know, some guys on tires towards the middle of the pack that we were trying to see if they were going to come through the field, and they really didn't. And again, we'll speak on that in the next segment on why we think that was. And then the third stage is where really the race picked up, which is usually what happens. in these races anyway. Fuel strategy was coming into play with the way the caution fell and the way the pit strategy was working out. You had some guys like Brad that pitted and was going to try to make it. They're a couple laps short. They're going to try to make it. Chris, who had pitted a little early, a little later than the other guys. And then you had Shane and Ross, who were up towards the front that were on a little bit older tires. And Chris Buescher just carved through there and passed them and was leaving them. And the top two decided to pit after Chris passed them, and Chris followed him down the next lap. And then, of course, Chris comes out with a 6-7 second lead. Shane was trying to catch him through there, and he ended up getting it to about 4 seconds, I believe, after, they both got through the traffic. And then, who was it? Harrison Burton blew a tire.
He did a good job. I'll give Harrison this.
Yeah.
He did a good job not spinning out, because it happened right when he's going to the bus stop.
Yeah, and he did everything he could. I mean, of course, not his fault, but caution ended up coming out, which I thought at the time was going to help Brad, because Brad had pitted
on that lap.
On the lap, seeing that Harrison was in trouble. He was called down pit road, which is a great strategy call by Matt McCall there.
You don't say that a lot.
Which doesn't happen very often. But Matt McCall and I think somebody else pitted with him. Joey. Which it didn't end up working for either of them, but it was a good strategy call if they weren't, wrecking each other on the next restart. But so we had the green-white checkered. I think the first green-white checkered, somebody wrecked. It wasn't Chris, or it wasn't Brad on that one, was it? Because there was 3 green-white checkers.
Was there 3? I thought there was only 2.
There was 2.
Because there was the Harrison Burton caution came out with 11 to go. They got going about 7 to go. I feel like they wrecked like a lap after.
Who wrecked?
I think it was the Brad and Byron wreck.
I was on a green-white checkered.
You sure? Well, I don't remember.
Whatever it was.
I know it was that wreck. Then it was the Reddick and Busch wreck. That was a green-white checker for sure. That was the last wreck.
Okay.
That's the only 2 I can remember, though. I feel like we only had 2 green-white checkers. I don't think we had 3.
There was 3 restarts. Okay, so yeah,
there 3 restarts, but not 3 green-white checkers.
So there's 3 restarts in that. Okay, so it was after the Blaney, or after the
Blaney.
after the 21. Then the green-white checkered was Brad and Joey, and then the second green-white checkered was the 45. Or we probably have those flipped. I think the Brad one was second. But anyways.
No, the last caution was the Reddick wreck.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
But I don't. Then what? They didn't go green for 5 laps to make it to that first one. There's no way they could have been both green-white checkers. But anyways, go ahead.
Whatever it was, however
I'll figure it out.
I was trying to watch it at work, so it was kind of difficult for me to keep up with. But, yeah, I mean, it was kind of frustrating to watch because you knew that Chris was going to win that race. There was no way that Shane was going to catch him in 7 laps. And if he did, I didn't think he was going to be able to pass him. And then the caution comes out for Burton, and green-white checkers and shit start happening. And eventually, Shane beats him on that last green-white checkered, and I thought it was over. And they come to the white. Chris is, a couple cars back, and kind of keeps even with him through one. And then
so the Brad and Byron wreck happened on that.
With 7 to go.
7 to go.
Yeah, and then it was.
Then it went to a green-white checkered.
And then
that's when the Reddick happened, and then that was it. There's only 2 green-white checkers.
Okay. I feel like that Brad wreck was a green-white checkered for whatever reason. But so anyway, as Chris is catching them up through the S's, he catches them by a 10th or 2. He's still, a couple car and a half back going into the bus stop. But he's close enough to him that Shane can't back up his entry, and he's got to drive it in there hard because he thinks Chris is going to drive it in there hard because Shane did move him a little bit into one on that green-white checkered. Doing so, he kind of drives it in too hard and kind of misses entry and tank slaps into the guardrail there on entry of the bus stop, which kind of screws up the whole bus stop for him. Not a ton, but enough that Chris gets to his inside entering the carousel. And Shane does what anybody would do there. He tries to close the door on him, but it's a little too late. Chris is already there. Kind of, make contact there, left front to right rear type deal. Shane gets a little bit loose and falls back behind, and it's all over from there. Shane did put up a valiant fight, into the next couple corners, but just didn't have enough. Chris ended up going on to win the race. His first win on a road course ever in a Cup Series.